Do you think the Browns should have got more for Myles Garrett?
I thought the value they got for Myles Garrett was very good. It's not, you didn't have 8 different teams who were willing to be in on a trade like that. They really had one team that was there.
The Cleveland Browns finally did the one thing fans thought they would never do. They traded Myles Garrett. Not just a good player, not just a franchise favorite. They traded one of the best defensive players in football, a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, a pass rusher who could wreck an entire game by himself. And now the question is simple. Did the Browns actually get enough? Or did they just move a generational player for a package that looks better on paper than it will feel on Sundays? That is why Tom Pelissero's answer matters. He did not look at the trade like a fan still emotionally attached to Garrett. He looked at it like an insider who understands the market, the age curve, the contract situation, the Rams' urgency, and what Cleveland needed if it was really going to move on. And to Pelissero, the biggest reason this deal works for the Browns is not just the draft picks. It is Jared Verse.
Myles Garrett is in fact being traded. The Cleveland Browns are trading him to the Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, yeah. Woo.
Wow. Holy smokes. And that changes a lot. That shows you the Rams are not messing around.
That reaction shows how shocking this move was. Garrett was not supposed to be available. Cleveland had talked for years like he would be a one-helmet player, the face of the defense, the player who survived every quarterback change, every coaching debate, every roster reset, and still gave the Browns elite production. So when the Rams came in and made the deal happen, it felt like the Browns were finally admitting something bigger. This was not just about Myles. This was about where the whole franchise is going. The package was Jared Verse, a 2027 first-round pick, a 2028 second-round pick, and a 2029 third-round pick. That is a lot. But when the player leaving is Myles Garrett, a lot still might not feel like enough. That is the problem with trading a superstar. The return can be strong, and fans can still feel robbed. Because nobody in Cleveland is going to watch a future third-round pick on Sundays and feel the same thing they felt watching Garrett bend around the edge.
As part of the trade, a young, cost-controlled star at a premium position would have to be included. And the third piece is that there would have to be premium draft capital. And there's a very small set of deals that really satisfy those constraints. So when it got to the point with our negotiations with the Rams, when all those things were satisfied, it really caused us to take a step back and think about really think about the decision.
That clip is important because it shows how the Browns are selling this move internally. Andrew Berry was not just collecting picks, he needed a player back. And Jared Verse changes the conversation because he's not a mystery box. He's young, productive, physical, and already viewed as a cornerstone-level edge rusher. If the Browns had traded Garrett for only future picks, the backlash would have been even louder. Verse gives Cleveland a way to say, "We didn't just trade our best player. We replaced him with a younger, premium position star and added draft capital." That is exactly why Pelissero liked the compensation. In today's NFL, premium positions matter. Quarterback, edge rusher, offensive tackle, corner. Those are the spots teams chase. The Browns lost an elite edge rusher, but they got a young edge rusher back before the picks even enter the conversation. That matters because Cleveland is not trying to completely disappear for 3 years. They still need a defense, they still need a pass rush, they still need someone opponents have to game plan for.
But where I like the trade for the Browns is if Jared Verse were traded in a vacuum, if you just traded Jared Verse tomorrow, he would be a 1+ player. You would have to go up a first-round pick and more because it's a 24-year-old ascending edge player, linebacker who can impact the game in a lot of ways. He is a great culture guy. He's a really good dude.
Pelissero's argument is basically this. Once Garrett was actually being moved, Cleveland needed short-term value and long-term value. Verse gives them the short-term value. The picks give them the long-term value. That is the cleanest version of the trade from the Brown side. They got younger, they got cheaper, they got draft flexibility, and they got a player who can help reset the defensive identity right away. But that doesn't mean everyone agrees. Brian Baldinger looked at the same deal and had the opposite reaction. To him, the Browns still didn't get enough because Garrett is too special. He was under contract, he was coming off one of the best stretches of his career, and players like that almost never become available.
So Baldinger's point is fair too. If you have Myles Garrett, why trade him unless the return feels impossible to reject?
I wouldn't have traded him because, he was under contract. He was affordable. He's coming off his best season ever. But I like Jared Verse, the player. I just don't think they got enough from Myles Garrett. Like, he's the most dominant defensive player we've seen since Reggie White and Bruce Smith. And I just thought, we've seen receivers get 2 first-round picks and more, and this is way better than any receiver that's ever been traded.
That is the debate. Pelissero is looking at the market. Baldinger is looking at the player. Both sides make sense. If you look at Garrett as a 30-year-old edge rusher with a massive contract and a team trying to reshape its future, the return looks strong. But if you look at Garrett as a true game wrecker who just changed everything about how offenses block the Browns, then no package feels good enough. That is why this trade is going to be argued about for years. And the Rams side is easy to understand. They are not thinking about 2029. They are thinking about right now. The Rams have always been aggressive when they smell a championship window. They did it with Matthew Stafford, and that move helped deliver a Super Bowl. So when they saw a chance to add Myles Garrett, they didn't hesitate. For Los Angeles, Jared Verse was a painful cost, but Garrett is the type of player who can turn a good defense into a terrifying one.
Garrett wanted out. He was happy to do this to the Rams because in that deal that he signed, it was a no-trade clause included. So he had to say yes to this, no surprise, because he's going to a spot where he can win the ring that he said he wanted to win when he demanded to no longer be with Cleveland. But the Browns, I think, did very well here.
That is why this might be a true win-win, at least on paper. The Rams are betting on the present. The Browns are betting on the future. Los Angeles gets the more proven superstar. Cleveland gets younger and adds draft capital. The question is, which timeline hits first? If Garrett helps the Rams win a Super Bowl, nobody in Los Angeles will care about the picks. If Verse becomes a star and Cleveland drafts well with those selections, Browns fans may eventually accept the pain. But that eventually is doing a lot of work. Because right now, the emotion is still real. Garrett was the one Browns player fans could always trust. Even when the offense was a mess, Garrett gave them greatness. Even when the quarterback situation was embarrassing, Garrett gave them credibility. Trading him feels like a reset, and resets are scary because they ask fans to believe in the same front office that helped create the mess.
I'd like to think that Cleveland finally got smart about the situation, Devin, because last year, February of 2025, while we were all in New Orleans for the Super Bowl, that's when Myles Garrett very strategically timed his statement that he wants to be traded.
That is the uncomfortable truth. The Browns may have done the smart thing and the painful thing at the same time. Teams that are not close to winning sometimes have to move great players before the decline arrives. That sounds cold, but the NFL is cold. If Cleveland looked at its roster and decided Garrett's best years did not match the team's real competitive timeline, then trading him becomes understandable. But understandable does not mean easy. This is also where Jared Verse has pressure immediately. He is not being asked to be a nice young piece. He is being asked to be the face of the Garrett trade. Every sack, every pressure, every quiet game will be compared to Myles. That is unfair, but it is reality. Verse does not have to become Garrett overnight, but he does have to become good enough that Browns fans stop feeling like the team just gave away its soul.
It caught me by surprise. I loved LA. I loved the coaches, the organization, my teammates, everybody a part of it, the staff, the fans. I love the whole vibe of LA, Los Angeles, the Rams, and it was upsetting. I was upset for a good little bit of time. But when you're an athlete, you understand the nature of business.
That is where the trade will really be judged. Not in June, not on the day the package is announced. It will be judged when Verse plays, when the draft picks become real players, and when Garrett lines up for the Rams in big games. If Garrett is wrecking playoff offenses and the Browns are still searching for an identity, the criticism will get loud again. But if Verse becomes a leader, the picks turn into starters, and Cleveland finally builds a deeper roster, Pelissero's take will age well. So did the Browns get enough? The honest answer is this. They got enough to justify the conversation. They got enough to defend the decision. They got enough that you can't call it a panic move. Jared Verse plus 3 premium picks is a real package. But when the player leaving is Myles Garrett, enough is not only about trade value, it's about what comes next. Pelissero believes the Browns did well because they got a young, cost-controlled pass rusher and serious draft capital. Baldinger believes they did not get enough because Garrett is too rare to move. And Browns fans are stuck in the middle, knowing both arguments have truth in them. The Rams won the headline, The Browns won the flexibility. Now Cleveland has to win the follow-through. Because if Jared Verse becomes a star and those picks become foundation pieces, this trade will look bold. But if Myles Garrett keeps dominating while the Browns keep rebuilding, nobody will care how good the value looked on paper.